We got the Vette safely lifted up on the lift. First thing we're gonna do is actually tackle the exhaust, just kind of get it out of our way. So we'll take the cat downpipes off the manifolds, both sides, and probably take it loose here. We're gonna try to save, this is a Bassani cat back system, and it's only got one muffler right in the center. As you can see, no mufflers. It's all tailpipe straight back. So if we end up eliminating this, then this car is going to be totally straight piped and it's going to be ridiculously loud. So I'm going to pop the pipes apart right here, get rid of the front. We'll get the headers on and see how much of an issue it is going to be to join the Texas Speed long tube headers into this cat back system and see if he's satisfied with that when we're done. It's definitely going to be louder than it was because we're putting headers on, but it will have a muffler at least. So if he doesn't like that, then obviously we have the whole X pipe from Texas Speed also, and he'll just have to get a axle back system. So first step, let's go ahead and pop all these bolts loose, and we'll get these dropped down out of our way. We'll get the car dropped down and tackle those exhaust manifolds, get them removed. We have those restrictive pipes off. There's the manifolds, one on either side. So let's go ahead and drop this down and we'll tackle removing the manifolds off of the actual engine and get them up out of the way. Then we can we might go ahead and test fit those long tube headers and just see how they look. Like I said, see what we need to do to mate it up against what the existing system here. Got to drop back down. The very first thing we're going to do is go ahead and put some shrink wrap across the fenders on either side. Obviously, if you drop something on that fender, it's still going to damage it, but this will keep smudges and fingerprints and any scratches from you leaning over the fender as you're working on it. So we got that done. Next step is we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery. So we'll get the battery disconnected and tackle those, probably pull the coil covers off. And like I said, we're going to tackle pulling those manifolds out. These coil covers pop off pretty easy. Take off the oil fill hole and they just kind of pop out of their grommets. They have grommets on the back side there, as you see, and they pop off. I'll put the oil cap back on for now, make sure nothing falls down in there. And now you can actually see coils, valve cover, and the top of the manifold right there also. This side, same way. The fuel line actually does run through the coil cover, but as you can see, there is a slit in it. So you just kind of bend that around and you can pull that off. Next step, we unplugged our upper O2 sensor. We have that unplugged out of the way. Spark plug wires off both ends because we're going to go ahead and pull the spark plugs out so we don't take a chance and damage them. Like I said, this is extremely low miles. I don't know if we're going to put new spark plugs in it. We'll see how they look when they come out, but let's go ahead and pull them. We got this side spark plugs out, and as you can see, they look really good. Pay attention to the spark plugs as you pull them. Obviously there's only 3. I already pulled one out and set it to the side, but pay attention to the spark plugs as you pull them because it can tell you a lot about the condition of the engine, and this one's very good. All the spark plugs are now out. You take them out, it's just way easier. It's too easy to break a spark plug or crack it and not even know it when you're dropping the header in or pulling these manifolds out. So do yourself a favor, just go ahead and take the couple minutes it takes, pull the spark plugs out. Like I said, you can read them, make sure everything looks good with the engine itself, and sometimes it makes it worlds easier with the spark plugs out. They may make it, you know, the header slips right in, no issues, to you really have to fight to get that header in there and chance cracking a spark plug. And second reason we pulled the plugs, we would have anyway for that reason I just said, but we are doing a cam, so we have to put air in the cylinders to hold the valves up when we change the valve springs. So next step is going to be on this particular side, the passenger side. You do have to pull the dipstick tube out. There's a 15mm bolt right here that holds it in, and we'll work that out and go ahead and pull it out of the block. And then it's 13mm on the manifold itself. Dipstick tube out, bolts out, grab the gasket too, and now we have it. Pop right out of there. We are going to reuse that oxygen sensor. We'll put it over here in our pile though. Second side off, driver's side. Now we're right down to the head. All the old exhaust so far out of our way. Manifolds, the downpipes, and the little extension pieces. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at these Texas Speed headers. They are very, very nice. Nice thick flange, all TIG welded. Nice pieces, everything's tied together. Welds look beautiful. Let's go ahead and put the car up, and these should slide right up from the bottom. Car's up in the air. Let's see if this works. Huh, didn't work. Let's try it again. Oh, they went somewhere. Where'd they go? Let's hope they went on the car. Yes, that's incredible. I could be a rich man if I could make that work consistently. But headers went on. All kidding aside, guys, it's almost ridiculous how easy these go on. It's a little bit of a fight to get the bolt started by yourself, and there's a lot of bulk in the back here, but they go in there and fit just so nicely. Like tons of clearance everywhere around your oil filter. They actually have more clearance than the stock exhaust system. So you can look up through there around the starter. You could easily get that starter on and off. So let's go ahead and see how this is going to mate up with our old system. All right, so we have these bolted up. They're nice and tight. As you can see, they hang a little bit lower than the older stock system. Part of that is it's got springs back here, springs on these hangers, and when you take the front off, it actually pulls it up. So we can actually pull that down to that level. As you can see, no big deal. And they're pretty close. Let me see if I can get a good shot there. It's actually pretty close. The factory was a little bit tighter together. These aren't, they're spread out just a tiny bit more. We're not going to change that, but we can change this. So we need to decide whether I'm going to go beyond this. And like I said, we would lose that Bassani muffler, which would be straight piped from the engine all the way back, which would be, in my opinion, just ridiculously loud. I know some guys like that, but this is a convertible and he does cruise around with it. I think it'd be too loud for him. So I'm gonna talk to him, see if he wants me to follow through and modifying something to work here, and seeing how he likes this system with the Texas Speed headers, the long tubes, and that new cam. Or are we going to ditch this whole setup? We'll put the Texas Speed X pipe on, which will bring it back. I think it brings it back to about here, and then we can do an axle back, probably either Borla or one of the other bigger systems. So all right, we talked to the customer and he kind of agrees. As far as if we have to modify this will kind of be not unsellable, but undesirable, I guess you could say, to someone else with a stock front system and they just want more sound. So this is a very good Bassani exhaust system. It's in very good shape still. And we will have to modify it to make these headers work. So I think the determining factor with replacing this is availability. So if you guys do know, the availability and quickness of parts coming in right now is challenging. There's a lot of stuff back ordered. There's a lot of stuff just not available with a bunch of different companies. So I'm gonna actually check with Texas Speed and see we're probably going to go with a Borla system. If they can get that in a timely fashion, you know, we still have to do the cam, so if they can get that in a few days, we'll probably go with that. If not, we'll probably end up cutting this, making this work, and seeing how that sounds. But either way, we got our headers on. We do have to put our O2s in here. We'll reuse them, recycle them off of the factory exhaust manifolds. They get moved down here. And Texas Speed does include the O2 extensions, so we can plug them in. So we'll get them installed. And now it's time. I have my pan. It's time to drain the antifreeze and get into the cam install. I'll probably end that here, and then the cam install will just kind of be totally separate. Like I said, the long tube headers are installed. The X pipe is very easy. It just literally slides right up in place. These hangers are on these pipes, so we gotta decide that. So what do you guys think? What would you do personally? Would you try and make this system work? And keep in mind, this is a convertible, so it can't be, well, you wouldn't want it to be obnoxiously loud riding down the road with the top down. Most people wouldn't, some people would, but keep that in mind. Would you keep this and make it work and just kind of chance it? Or would you just spring for a whole new axle back like Corsa or Borla? Let me know. And thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.